I came to LA to make rock and roll. Along the way I had to sell my soul. I made some good friends that make me say I really wanna be in LA. I took the 10 to get to Beverly, laid some rock to take roll at 118.
Oh, hey Ben, is it time to start already? Actually, it's past. I'm running behind like normal.
Yeah, I wasn't going to tell everybody, but Ryan is late for, let's see, what episode is this? The 13th week in a row.
Number 13, MetaMentors. We're back at it again. This week it is Upland, and we've got a guest that's going to tell a little story for us. We're pretty excited about him. I hope he recognizes you, Ben. You've changed a lot since the last time he's seen you, I think.
Yeah, you don't forget a face like this.
I've got
it haunts your dreams.
That's what she said. I've got Upland trailer ready. Do you want me to play it, or do you have it handy?
You can do it.
Okay, let's jump right in.
We want to rebuild the world! Rebuild it now! We want to rebuild the world! Rebuild it now! The journey of Upland begins with a crowd of cheering, dancing, and marching peaceful llamas. The llamas are celebrating a new world that is rebuilt by llamas for llamas. Introducing Upland, a parallel world that blends with the real one. Purchase virtual properties based on actual addresses and enjoy true ownership powered by blockchain technology. Join Miles B. Chain as he travels around the globe buying, selling, trading property in San Francisco, New York City, Hong Kong, and more. Play Upland by becoming a proud landlord of your dream property, completing collections, finding treasures, and playing piñatas. Earn in Upland UpX currency for flipping properties, running your own business, and sell digital goods and properties for profit. Connect in Upland by forming and joining squads, meeting other players in cafes and other hangout places. Play, earn, and connect in Upland today. Available on the web, App Store, and Google Play.
Upland, is it the absolute best metaverse to begin with? That is the question.
Today we've got something fun.
There was some clear signs to me that this might be a good entry into the metaverse if you feel overwhelmed. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and have that disclaimer and also this week's news in crypto.
All right. Well, anything we say on this channel, not just this episode, is information that we have researched. However, it is not financial advice. Everything is for educational and informational purposes only. So do your own research before you invest any money in these projects. Starting off, it's not day one anymore, but Bitcoin Miami is currently going on, or has been going on for the last few days. That is, I heard today that it was the biggest financial conference in the world. Like, there is nowhere else, not just crypto, but there's nowhere else in the world where people gather, as many people gather for strictly financial reasons as Bitcoin Miami of this year. I think they were expecting over 200,000 people by the end of the several day event, and they were doing 25 to 50,000 people through the halls in a single day. So that's pretty impressive numbers. And like I said, Kevin O'Leary was getting interviewed, and they asked if it was the biggest Bitcoin event. He said not only is it the biggest any sort of crypto event, as far as any financial gathering in any financial industry, it was the biggest that there's ever been. So that bodes nice. Well. Yeah, that's great for the industry. He said a ton of them were, what was the word? Not industrial, but big money investors who he said own $0 in Bitcoin. They're waiting for some common sense regulation from the government where they can have Bitcoin ETFs and stuff like that. But he said a ton of people there own $0 in Bitcoin because they can't get into it yet. So that's even better, because it's not just the people who already own Bitcoin and who already believe in Bitcoin, but it's all the
Bitcoin
future.
maxis.
Yes, Bitcoin maxis. It's all the future people who will be interested in Bitcoin as well, which is awesome. And I'll put a link to a couple of different speakers down below from this conference. But if you Google or if you look on YouTube and just type in Bitcoin 2022, man, they have everybody from Peter Thiel to Salier, a bunch of the Bitcoin hardcore guys, a bunch of the smaller projects. Like, there's so much good information, and you'll recognize it because they've all got the orange background. What you see here, they've all got that on the YouTube thumbnail. There's so many different keynote speakers, including Kevin O'Leary, that are saying so much good stuff. I mean, it's just so positive. You know what I mean? Like, if you're in the space and you're wondering if we're slowing down at all, watch some of these and you get excited about investing in Bitcoin specifically, but crypto as a whole. So I thought that was great news.
Yeah, that's the thing about being so early as we are. We get on here, we do these shows, we're super geeked out and excited about everything that's going on. But every once in a while, or just in the back of your head a little bit, you're like, is it, you're waiting for, that foundational pieces like a lot of these major investors. So you have that little question. You're like, I know this is it. I'm all in, but what if it's not? So when you see stuff like this happening, it just gives you that reassurance and gets you re-engaged and re-fired up. So that's huge. Biggest conference ever in the world.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like I said, there's so much stuff when we think about Bitcoin, at least when I think about Bitcoin, I'm like, okay, well, there's a lot of exciting projects and Bitcoin is the big daddy. Bitcoin's the store of value. It doesn't do much, but you want to get as much Bitcoin as possible. But then you watch a lot of this stuff where they're talking about the Lightning Network and the Tor Network and not just saving Bitcoin, but spending with Bitcoin and making it seamless and, transaction feeless or so minute that you hardly notice, and being able to just buy regular stuff over the Tor network with Bitcoin. You're like, oh, I keep forgetting that Bitcoin itself has got a ton of people. There's a lot of people building on Ethereum and Solana, but Bitcoin is still, it's not just a gold coin that you stick in your back pocket and hold on to for forever. They're still working. They're still building on it. So it just, like you said, I mean, it just pumps you up and it's like, oh yeah. Okay. On top of all these small projects, I need to be putting a small percentage into Bitcoin every month because, like Kevin O'Leary especially says, once institutional money, that was the word I was looking for earlier, once institutional money can get in there, once the the sovereign wealth funds and the IRAs and the just stuff like E-Trade and regular 401k accounts can start buying Bitcoin, grandmas and grandpas that have $780,000 in their retirement accounts might just buy one Bitcoin, might buy two, you know what I mean? Like, the money's there. They can just buy. It's like, if everybody's saying that this is the way to do it, how much would it hurt? They own $200,000 worth of Pepsi. They can buy one single Bitcoin just in case. And he says, once that happens, it's going to just skyrocket. He said, you're not even going to, the amount of money that's going to flow into the market.
Yeah, it's going to be nuts. Just like that conversation that video of Thiel there at that presentation where he's he's predicting 100x, and the future will tell if he's right or not. But if he doesn't even have to be right at 100x, anywhere near that, and with institutional money, that's going to open the doors wide open.
Yeah, 5x is going to blow people's minds. So 100x is awesome. And a lot of those keynote speakers pointed out that this isn't buy and flip. In fact, that seemed to be the theme of the whole conference was stop selling your Bitcoin. Stop getting rid of it. You can buy and sell small tokens, but Bitcoin is on so much long. Bitcoin is past your lifetime. Like the investment range that you're looking at generational wealth. You're looking at giving your kids a piece of the Bitcoin. So that also makes you feel pretty good, because they say stuff like, oh, if you just own a tenth of a coin, which right now is less than $4,000, oh, you're better than 80%, 90% of the world. And that just makes you feel real good. So that's what I've got for Bitcoin. Another thing in the NFTs, one of the most popular things that's going on, actually, I think this must have been right after our last episode, but this, the meme, you recognize this meme?
Oh,
the
yeah.
coffin meme. It gets used all the time. The original GIF was purchased as an NFT for just over $1 million. It was, they said how many Ethereum that it was bought for, but basically came out, somebody bought this for just over $1 million, which is insane. I mean, they talk about the JPEG NFTs and stuff like this, but it has no utility. You can't copyright it. Anybody can use it. Anybody, I use it on text messages about once a month. I think I use this meme right here, but somebody bought it for just over $1 million. There it is, 327 Ethereum. The coffin dance.
Man, I bet that's going to open the doors on people buying gifts for that. And it makes me totally wonder about, like you just said, there's no utility. I wonder if that's really the case. I mean, I know, it sounds like they don't own the IP rights, but imagine if you did, or you were able to use it, so anybody that wanted to use that GIF had to actually lease it from you or get permission or something. There's got to be something there, right? I mean, I guess people blow money on dumb things all the time, but
right, and that's what they go on to talk about. It actually mentions, I think it's KU that owns the original basketball rule book.
Yeah, yes,
isn't that right? Yeah,
it mentions, they don't own it. It's one of the alumni, but it's there. That's in right. Allen
but
Fieldhouse.
It's displayed there. Yeah. So they mentioned that. They said, why do people pay $1 million for Babe Ruth's first home run ball? Why do they buy, the original basketball rule book for $4.3 million? So it makes sense, because there's a lot of stupid stuff that you buy that, it's like, well, your only thing you're going to do with the home run ball is put it on your shelf and look at it until you either sell it again or give it to your kids. So, but I think you're right. If they're gonna put that meme in a commercial, if that's gonna end up on TV or in a movie or something, I don't know. I guess it depends on who they bought the NFT from. Whether or not they've got copyright availability. But yeah, I think you're right. It's gonna open the door, because there's a ton of memes out there, and there's more every day. But especially some of these old original internet memes, those are going to be hot commodities. I'm looking forward to that. I mean, I'm not going to be able to buy them at $1 million a piece, but it is interesting to see them getting purchased up, and it would be cool to meet somebody who had one of those in their wallet. So
hear their thoughts behind it.
That's what's going on right now in crypto news. Specifically, we'll get into some of the projects we've covered. We'll start with NXTT, Next Earth. NXTT is the token. Next Earth, we've kind of been talking about it. They've kind of been talking about it, but it's officially happened. Next Earth is listed on a centralized exchange. Hold on one second. I'll edit this out. I'm getting old. Too much smoking. 3, 2, 1, go. All right. So they're on a centralized exchange. This article will be listed down in the description, but it does talk about, centralized exchanges are not always the favorite, especially of smaller projects. But for the average person to get a coin like this, it has to come from a centralized exchange. And so not until they're available on a centralized exchange are most people able to get it. And what it did was the day of, it shot the coin way up. Since then, it's come back down. One of the things that they talk about, I think in this article, but definitely in another one that I saw, the bad part is on a centralized exchange, everybody who bought in on the initial coin offering now has the ability to sell it a lot easier. But Next Earth has made it very clear that the original tokens, if you're the original owner of the originally minted tokens, that's going to hold a little bit more utility in the Next Earth metaverse. So if you're not just buying to flip, Next Earth is one. The NXTT token is one that's a good idea to hang on to the original. So I may buy some because it's still very cheap. I'd like to buy some more on the exchange and just have it ready, because Next Earth is one of those that I don't know where it's going to start to plateau at. They've just got so many projects lined up over the next few months. I mean, they're nailing their roadmap dead on every time. So that coin might skyrocket. I don't want to get rid of my original bag, but I might buy and sell some in the middle and try to acquire more Bitcoin with the profits.
I'm right there with you.
So another project we were looking at that has changed, Horizon Worlds, is now allowing creators to make money in the metaverse, not just from their creator fund. You know, you used to be able to do a joke club or have a nightclub, and if your project was good enough, you could win a small portion of the however many millions of dollars were in the creator fund. But now they're allowing you to actually monetize it with in-game items, or paying to come into your experience. So now you can have a cover charge at your nightclub in Horizon Worlds. But again, with a centralized metaverse, they will immedially take 50%.
Oh God, man! Why?
Why? It's only 47.5, but
you think they're wise? You start to think they're wising up a little bit, and then they rug you right out from 50, almost 50%. Come on,
right? And you still don't own any of it that's on there. They still own it, but you're allowed to market it, use it, sell it, and little bonuses if you're using the new tools that they're coming out with every week. So you got a chance to earn more or get advertised in the world a little bit more if you're doing the stuff that, if they've got a new program out and you're one of the first ones to jump on and say, okay, if you want to get into this club or this experience, use this new program, then they'll advertise for you a little bit more, which is pretty nice. But like we've talked about, I mean, if you're okay partnering with Facebook, who doesn't partner with anybody, then yeah, it's okay. But if not, avoid it. Find a smaller project where you own your NFTs and you own your coins.
I love the thought of, I can picture people right now. I love the thought of people that, because there's so many of them right now, and I get it, that think Meta, Facebook, is the metaverse. And then they stumble across our channel and they're like, right. Wait a second. What is going on? They're not the metaverse. There's multiple metaverses that you can actually make money on.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's, like we've talked about, there's not just one centralized metaverse and several small ones. There's several centralized ones, several small ones, new ones being built every day, some slowing down, some getting bigger. I mean, the metaverse right now is as general as the internet in the early 2000s. You know what I mean? The metaverse is just the term. Anybody can build a metaverse project. We're going to talk about one today that technically falls under the metaverse, terminology, but you'll see it's not, I don't think it's really even blockchain based, or it might have blockchain, but it's not got a token that's able to be exchanged. So
correct.
But that's what I've got. Do you have a couple of updates for some of the projects?
Yes, I do. My one that I'm most excited to share is a slight Alluvium update. Nothing on the land just yet. But remember a couple weeks ago on the recap, we talked about the $1 million that was in the ILV that was bet. They had a draw then, but we now have a winner.
Air?
No.
Air is good, by the way.
No. Don't. Yes. Baited. Is it enough?
It's the alluvial death ball. Oh boy, this is so close.
It's over.
Ooh.
Oh!
Oh, there it is in wave 13.
It's the winner. Yes. Oh, you fools. Wow. Let that one soak in.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's
in.
let a 14K
sink in, eh? Wow. $1 million.
Guys, congratulations on an incredible battle. Wildly entertaining. Kieran is our winner after what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 matches. Finally, it ended. And it was so
right,
close.
actually,
it was within one wave. It was within one wave. Well met, gentlemen.
We've got a spanner in the works for you, Andrew.
A spinner?
A spanner.
We've got a
A
couple.
spanner.
One of them is going to be literal spanner hitting your skull.
Okay.
While he's getting over this loss, which might not ever happen, we actually decided before the stream that we were going to give the ILV to proportionately to all of the team members that are working on Illuvium. So a little bit of a bonus, a little bit of a twist. But yeah, we think, we would not be here playing this game if it wasn't for the team. And, we can't thank them enough. So
Everyone on the team but Ben.
Okay, don't worry, Ben. I can give you a few easily.
So there
That's
you
pretty
have
cool.
it. Yeah, Karen wins the $1 million of ILV, literally $1 million worth, and they're just gonna donate to the team that's building this game, which is somewhere around 200 people. So I don't know what that breaks out to be, but that, again, this group just continues to do cool shit.
$5,000 a person.
There you go. You always were the math genius. Moving on to Sandbox. Sandbox in Decentraland also, but has kind of started to slow down, and the floor price for land on Sandbox is now dropped below 2 ETH. Now, again, ETH is up a little bit compared to the last time, but not that much. This is actually a decline in floor price, and we haven't really talked about this, but occasionally you'll have a floor price and you'll have 1 or 2 NFTs, land or avatars or whatever at the floor price, and then the rest will jump up. That's not the case here. You've got a lot of land that you can choose from in Sandbox that is near that floor price. And a lot of them, again, you got to get in and do your own research, but they're not just in the middle of nowhere. Some of these are right next to some of these estates. So we're seeing some opportunity there. Now, again, it's down. Is it going to continue to go down? Who knows? So if you have been interested in Sandbox or have already bought some Sandbox and you're not paying attention, you might take a look at it and evaluate some of these pieces of land at this new low floor price.
I actually do know that it will not continue to go down. Eventually it will come back up. 100% positive.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Same thing with the tokens. The tokens, the sand token and also the mana are down again also. So
just fill up the bag.
More opportunity there. But so that's kind of what I've got is just a recap. I'm excited that we're adding this into our show. We're going to try and hit any highlights that come across on some of the metaverses we've already done. So we'll try to keep that short and just give you the meat and potatoes of it. But as of right now, we're going to move into Upland, and I can see that our guest, Mr. Tim, has joined us. And one of the things that Ben and I have hinted to is bringing some real utility examples of things that you can use and do in the metaverse that not only are in the metaverse, but can affect your real life or things that are going on. And so Tim got a hold of me, probably almost a couple weeks ago, and he had a big question, and there was a lot of emphasis behind that question. I'm going to bring Tim on now so he can tell us the story. Tim, what's up, buddy?
What's up, fellas? How are you doing?
Hey, Tim. Long time
All right.
no see, bud.
I know, man. You're looking good. You're looking good.
Doing real good. Hey, Tim, I don't know if you were able to catch some of what I was just saying, but obviously a couple weeks ago, you messaged me out of nowhere with one word and a question mark, and it was Upland.
Yeah, I did.
So-
I did.
So I got a hold of you, and you, I could tell you had a pretty serious question. Why don't you kind of tell us where that came from and what prompted that text to me?
Yeah, for sure. So, to be honest, this starts off with getting flooring done in my house, and I had a guy come over, do a bunch of flooring in my house, and we're talking. He's there for a few days, just kind of going over things, and then at the end of that, you always have to pay the guy, and he just approached me. He's like, "Hey, man, do you do any crypto? Do you do anything in the metaverse, anything like that?" He's like, as part of my business plan now, I'm offering to have people pay me that way. He uses Upland as his metaverse primarily, and to be honest, I was just kind of like, well, bro, I don't, man, I can play it on my iPhone. I don't know about all this, but it got me excited. It sparked me, and it was coming into Spark Week for Upland, and so he was real, amped up.
Oh, that makes sense.
And he was he was working his way really, really well, but he would check his phone and hit this and that. And he started telling me about Spark Week and all these things that are happening and how he has, changed his business plan to where he tries to get so many, anybody that would pay him in crypto or in the metaverse, as well as then he's got, businesses inside Upland and properties. He just got in. They just opened up San Francisco and or LA, I think maybe, and he was buying properties there. And he had turned it in. He showed me, how his account was working and how everything was going, and how he was just making money off of this game. And I was like, I want in on that. I want to know about that. I like that. I'm not a super smart guy, but I think this sounds like a pretty good deal. And so, and it's actually kind of like the second person business that I use that is in the last 6 months or so that I've talked with. To be my tattoo guy, actually, he's accepting crypto, and I can't remember which metaverse he's kind of in, but at the time I didn't really he didn't dive into it as much as my flooring guy, but that was what it was, and I knew you guys were doing kind of this thing, so I just shot Ryan a text. I'm like, hey man, fill me in, and so I'm learning.
Well, yeah, this is the new world of, oh, hey, if you pay me in, if you give me gold or silver, or if you give me, instead of bartering, hey, if you just, give me that boat, I'll do this flooring for free. Anything that you can, again, this is not financial advice, but anytime you can avoid a taxable event, as long as there's not a paper trail, if you could do it in cash, I'll give you a little discount. Now it's even better because, hey, if you could just shoot me some UpX, in the metaverse, that's coming from nowhere, going to nowhere. Nobody has to know anything. And it's like, it's directly, pegged to the US dollar. So it's got a dollar value as soon as you go over there. And UpX is more of a stable coin than some of these cryptos that we've been messing with. So it's it's not going to drop by half tomorrow. It's got a real value. And it's like, this just makes it so much easier for anything that you would rather pay cash or pay, or avoid paying with a check or bank account to bank account. Anything you can do, especially in the higher dollar amounts, to avoid that tax paperwork. It makes it very, very easy. And it's cool. The problem right now is there's so many different projects that, like Upland. When Ryan said that, I said, I think Upland, is that the one with the llama? That's all I knew about it. But I wouldn't know what to do if somebody asked me to pay an Upland. I'd figure it out. But yeah, anytime Ryan and I have talked about this on a couple episodes. I've paid people for a little bit of online work with Dogecoin, and it's Dogecoin that I bought when it was 2 cents, and I was sending it to them at 25 cents a piece. You know what I mean? So it's like, so it was 12 times cheaper than what it was. You know what I mean? So I love that idea because it was my decentralized wallet to their decentralized wallet. And we were the only people involved in it. No one else has to know about it.
It's funny you should bring up paying someone with it, UPX, Upland tokens, or Dogecoin, because I actually did a little video because when Tim called me and said, hey, what's the deal with this Upland and how does this work? I said, well, let's figure out how you could actually pay your carpet layer with UPX tokens. And it's super simple. You go on, you actually make an account on Upland, which is really easy. But then once you're in there, you've got your UPX up here. And in this case, they give you 4,500 UPX right off the bat for free, which is basically $4.50. So I went in and bought another $50 worth of UPX, which ends up being 50,000. $50 buys you 50,000. And it's actually that time of month, Ben, where we like to give something away to our subscribers.
Oh, that time of month. I got you.
Now you got me all frazzled.
Yeah. So you're planning on giving away some UPX tokens to one of our viewers? Is that what you're getting ready to say?
Yes, I am. And we'll go over how to earn that. But I made a quick video of how you can actually pay your carpet layer or any contractor with UPX. So you set up an account, you get the UPX in your account, and then it's only a couple clicks away. So you bring up this menu from the bottom, you hit and search player. You search, in this case, your carpet layer, whatever name he goes by, which I don't know what it is. You type it in there, it'll bring him up, and then you can literally just send him the UPX. And this is actually something that's just happened since the beginning of the year. I watched some prior videos to this, and prior to this, you had to do what's called using a burner property. So basically, you buy a property that's you don't care about. You get the guy so in this case, your carpet layer, you let him know, hey, I got this property. You buy it for this amount of money. I'll pay you, I'll send you the money over, and then I'll buy that land back from you. So guys were using these burner properties to move money back and forth, or move UPX back and forth prior to this, but now you can actually do it officially. And what's one of the unique things about this Upland or UPX is you can actually sell these properties for dollars, USD, and actually get back, which is really unique as far as Metaverse is. I'm not, we're just beginning this, but I'm not aware of any others that you can do that on just yet.
Well, that's similar to the Roblox setup because it's a closed system, so they're not on an exchange. You can't take it off the program and take it to an exchange, but you can exchange it back for USD. So Roblox has a multi-step deal to do it, but it's similar with no gas fees and no transaction fees. You can turn your in-game token into USD, and this one does it direct. So, I mean, you can actually choose whether to keep it on your in-game token or click USD, and it's in your bank account by the end of the day. So very cool. And like we've talked about with a lot of things, again, I don't know how much I want to talk about publicly on YouTube, but anytime that you can, send value from one person to another, especially with no transaction fees and especially with no taxable paperwork being drawn up, the better that program is for me. So
For sure.
I'm with you, Tim. I'm in.
Yeah. So, and the one thing that I, knowing very little to start at any of this, when he kind of explained how that would work, basically you go on, make an account and send it over. As overwhelming and as confusing as it was for me to kind of understand the lingo and kind of start the ball rolling, like Ryan was saying, it's really pretty easy to do. It doesn't take a whole lot of a time at first just to do that in this particular one. I haven't,
Right.
expanded much in anything else, but I thought that was pretty user friendly.
Yeah, and this one, because it's a closed system, because in some of the other programs and some of the other metaverses we do, you've got to go swap your tokens on a different exchange, put it in your wallet, connect your wallet. This is a little bit different. This is, it's a closed, so it's like going into a Super Mario World on the Nintendo and just being able to buy the coins instead of, instead of bringing them in from a different game. You're buying it in the game, you're moving it in the game, except for when you're done with it, you can basically sell it back to the game. So it's like if you get a whole bunch of these UpX points from buying and selling, at the end of the game, you don't just turn off your Nintendo and leave all those points on there. If you're done playing, or if you just need some cash, you can just pull it out. So it makes the entry into the metaverse, the idea of the metaverse very easy. Yeah. And the prices, I'm sure Ryan will go over the land prices here in a little bit, but they're also very reasonable compared to some of the prices in Decentraland and Sandbox. It's very easy. For $50, you can get in there and buy multiple properties. So this is a great way, a great introduction to the metaverse.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, very, very easy entry for sure. Well, Tim, we don't need to keep you any longer. You're welcome to stay on if you want, but don't feel like you need to. Ben, I think from here, I normally go into land, but we're already kind of talking about tokens and all that stuff. You gotta get it.
Thanks, guys, man. I'll let you get after it. I can't wait to see it.
Here comes the hijinks. All right, buddy. Yep, I'll see you next week.
See you, buddy.
Thanks, Tim.
Bye.
See you, Tim. Good to see you.
You too, buddy.
All right.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
So some real world applications, some real world YouTube or utility. Can you pay your carpet layer with UpX? Yeah, you can, and it's actually fairly easy. So why don't we we'll go a little out of order here, but we're already talking about the token and all that stuff, Ben. So why don't I just throw it over to you? I'll get back to your screen. And,
there won't be much on that. Most of what I'm going to say is just verbal. The token transfers over. It's the UPX, which, like I found out the hard way, I went to go look to buy some, and there's another crypto called the UPX. I forgot what it was called, but where you can actually buy that crypto on these exchanges. Thankfully, before I pulled the trigger, I did realize, I was like, man, that doesn't sound anything like the game. And so I found out this UpX token is what they call it in the game. It is not available on any decentralized or otherwise. It's an in-game token. You have to be in the game to buy it and use it. Like we talked about last week, it's like Roblox. You're basically signing up to play the game, and then you're buying the in-game currency. And when you're ready to leave the game, you can cash out and take back your USD. Upland takes it a step further. And when you're buying and selling these properties, you have the option to choose get paid in UpX so you can keep it in the game and keep playing. Or, if you buy one real cheap and sell it for a lot and you're just ready to take some profit, you can just sell it straight for USD and it goes right back to your bank account, which is very cool. The UpX conversion rate is at 1,000 to 1. It's like a stable coin, which is rare in any metaverse project, but especially one this simple and this inexpensive to get into. UpX is pegged to the US dollar, so it doesn't fluctuate. You don't buy in at 1,000 to 1, and when you go to cash out, you can only get 500 to 1 or 1,500 to 1. So that's cool because when you buy these properties, like I don't want to step on your toes. When you buy these properties, though, they will generate some income, and it's 1,000 to 1. You're earning back this UpX, and you're able to go buy more properties. And I think you earn it in UpX, but you're able to send it to your friends for any reason, whether it's in-game or not, whether it's your flooring guy or the guy who mows your lawn. If you both play in Upland, there's an exact dollar amount that these coins are worth. You know, if you pay a guy $40 to wash, you know, to cut your lawn, you can send him the appropriate amount of UpX tokens, and it earns, I think the percentage on here was like 14%. So you're basically like staking this stuff, and that's like a great stable coin return. It's obviously light years ahead of what you'll get in any average bank account. So even if you just put money into UpX, bought a couple of the properties before, you know, if you plan on holding them long term, you're earning a real good return just on the coin itself, which is excellent. The only problem, I mean, the problem is also one of the benefits. The benefit is it doesn't fluctuate. The problem is you got to be in the game to get it. You can't just get it on an exchange. So
yeah, you're basically making your money through land appreciation. It appreciates, becomes worth more UpX, and then you can transition into the dollar if you want from there. But yeah, it's very easy entry.
What I did not understand, or I'm just looking at it right now, I didn't see this, but it looks like the game Upland was established in 2019. And it says over here, Upland, the UPX token, was established in 2018. So I'm not sure what they did with the coin before the game existed, but
that's pretty observant. I didn't notice
I just noticed that. I did not do any research on that. So maybe next week we'll have an update when I figure out what that's all about. Yeah. Probably just a typo or something. But that's the UpX token. Because it's not on an exchange and because it doesn't fluctuate, there's not a lot of information to give. It's 1,000 to 1. So 100,000 tokens is $1,100. And 100,000. Yeah, that's right. That's right, because you got 50,000. We'll be giving that away. So it's very cool. That's what we've got right now.
Yeah, very, very easy entry. I think that's I think that's the major asset of this metaverse is it's a very easy entry. It's very relatable. The design is very easy. It's, you know, kind of similar in the fashion to Next Earth. It's a map of the world. There's only so many cities that are open right now, as where Next Earth you can buy anywhere within the world. Within Upland, there's only so many cities that are actually available. And we'll add some extra video in here to kind of show some of those cities that you can cruise. But that, to me, you know, I like to, you know, there's the three questions I like to answer when I'm looking at these metaverses is what makes this one, you know, what makes this different from the other ones? Free entry, and then you can buy extra UpX from there to actually buy additional land, or you can just collect small amounts of UpX every day and build up from there. The land is super affordable. You kind of hinted to it. You can get it bought for a couple dollars, all the way up to I saw one that had sold for 10,000. That was a prime, and that's 10,000 USD, so actual dollars. That was, of course, a prime piece of property. But that's kind of the idea here is to, as these cities open up, you can buy what's called an FSA property, which is only available to new players up to a certain point. And another attribute that I really liked about this Upland Metaverse is they've got this. If you go to upland.me and then you have this guide here, it's really, really simple. I mean, some of these metaverses are just because of the technology, it's super intricate. This one is broken down really well, so you can kind of navigate in here, figure out, you know, how to best play, how to get started. So far, there's been, and I'm not sure how dated this is. It's fairly recent because I saw one for 1.3 or 5 earlier. But so far, $1.8 million roughly has been made by players within Upland when they're selling their property for USD. So again, very unique in the fact of this metaverse that you can take the in-house token, the UpX, buy property, and then you can sell that property either for UpX or for USD and cash out. And so I've got a short video here that kind of displays that. I'll play. This guy is a... Yeah.
But I'm just going to say, before you start, one of the things I look for in these type of games is the utility, not just the game. The game actually seems pretty fun. It's kind of like a real world Monopoly, which isn't the first one to do this, but it's like you're buying and selling properties. But you can also get on there and dump on a whole bunch of those UpX tokens, and you can send it to your buddy for any reason. You know what I mean? Like that can just be your way of transferring value between the two. If a lot of your friends play the game, you can move that over. They can take it and then pull it out without having to buy and sell properties and hold on to them and stuff like that. So it's got a no fee transfer rate, and then you can cash out for the same thing. It's not like sending PayPal, you know what I mean? So I really like that because again, you can lose a bet like they did on the Axie game over there. I mean, yeah, Alluvium, there you go. You and I could just make a bet on the Super Bowl winner, and if I lose, I could send you UpX tokens that has $1 amount, and even if I'm not actively playing Upland, and if I have that money sitting on there, it can be earning a small interest rate if I've got it staked in different lands, or properties. But just being able to send money for any reason, you don't have to do the dummy account or the burner properties. You could actually just click on your name, Ben to Ryan, send you 50,000 UpX tokens. We'll bet again next week on the next game, which I thought was real cool. So
yeah, that's pretty unique and very user friendly in this fashion. And in this video, we're going to watch just a couple minutes. This is a YouTuber. Actually, it's a team here. You have LoylDoyl here and McSqueeb, and they've done a ton of videos. So if you YouTube Upland, you're definitely going to see these guys. But this is an example of selling an actual property, he's going to show a little bit of the map property, but the main reason why I'm taking this clip is he's going to show cashing out into USD money out of the game into his actual account via PayPal, actually. So here we go.
Oh, interesting.
This big one, I wanted to test a big one, and I did a Skyline Manhattan property. I paid about 4,000 USD or 4 million UpX for this property, probably about 8 months ago or so. And I sold it for $10,000 USD. Now, after the fee, you can see that I got 9,500 after that when I actually withdrew that money out of Upland, because there's a little bit of a fee there that Tilia charges.
Right.
And we can actually go through and show you what that looks like. If you click on your profile, once you start earning USD or you sell properties for USD, there's this little withdraw button. You can see right now I have 662. So I can just hit withdraw, hit the check mark here, and just select my PayPal account that I've added, that I've connected to the game, and boom, just as easy as that. And honestly, it only takes about a few hours from my experience, or less than a day from the time you hit take out of Upland, that you'll have that money right in your PayPal wallet. So,
yeah, for me, it's been about 24 hours, but yeah, it's cool. It's whatever.
In some of the cases, it's only been like 2 hours for me, so I've been pretty impressed.
Yeah.
So now you can see it's processing that payout of $662. It's pretty cool. And let me give you an example of how I actually price properties. Let's go to a city like Fresno. So I've obviously owned these properties for quite a while. If I just hit the property button when I'm zoomed out all the way on the map. In fact, let me go back and show our screen. So the property button is right here on the bottom right. If you zoom out on a whole area on the map and then you hit that property button, you can see the cheapest property currently for sale in that given area that your screen can see. So right now it's $10, $9.99. So if I zoom into a property that I own, that I'm like, okay, I'm willing to sell. Let's see what this one is. Let's take that one off the market for UpX. So I got this one for $5.50 or 5,550 UpX. So I can go right now, sell, put the amount $10, offer for sale. Let me make sure. This is something I highly recommend. You click the More button and you click this Boosted Earnings, and you make sure it's not in a highly valuable collection or something like that. So you're not listing a property that's worth a lot more for sale. So, but there you go. I've listed it for $10, and I would imagine that this property will sell in a few hours or less. The market, I've actually been pretty impressed. The market is pretty active.
Yeah.
Like, people are willing to pay USD if it's priced at a decent amount.
Yep.
So you can see there, he zoomed in, he went over the overlay of that map over Fresno, one of the cities he owns properties in. He clicked the map button, property button, to see what the floor price was, which was $10. Then he goes into his own property, which he had on the market available for UPX. He changed it to be available for USD. So that means now if somebody wants to buy it, they have to come in and actually buy it with dollars, put it at the floor price of $10. And he's saying it should be sold probably within a couple hours. So there's that. He's flipping that property at the floor price. He showed, to start the video, he showed one that he bought for $4,000 USD basically and sold for $10,000 USD. Now they charged him $500 to do that. Like he showed, he got $9,500. So that's a pretty steep fee, but I mean, he cashed out big time there. And right. He also, this guy has been investing since early 2020 in the project. And he goes on to show his Excel sheet. He's got like roughly $50,000 invested. He's pulled 13 or 15 out of it or whatever, but he shows you some of the appreciation from the land. So essentially all this is digital land flipping. And the name of the game basically is when they open up a new area within the map, which they're getting ready to open Queens, New York. Actually, it's today just opened up at 10 o'clock, literally. Nice. So by the time this video comes out, I'm sorry, subscribers and viewers, it's probably too late. But you go in and you buy these FSA properties, which, again, go to this upland.me, pull up this guide, and it'll come in here and you can learn about how to buy these properties, what FSA means. But basically, the FSA is Fair Start Act, and it's only available to newer players. It's cheaper land. You go in and buy that land in these newly open cities. You can also buy land that's owned by other people, just like he's selling his for $10 USD. But it seems like the name of the game is to go in, buy these cheap lands as long as you can as these new cities open up, and either flip them, right away, depending on how they appreciate, or maybe you hold them for a few months or something like that and then flip them. But there's some real opportunity to actually do some digital land flipping. Now in the future, there's actually going to be some business models, and, like I saw, like a lot of the metaverses, concerts and maybe some, games and stuff like that. You can and I'm kind of getting into gameplay a little bit there, but there's more opportunity there. But initially and right now, and what people seem to be most excited about is buying and holding the land or flipping the land to make either UPX or US dollars, which is, again, very unique for this metaverse. So, that's some of the major differences, the status, the opportunities. I just kind of went over that. Opportunities to buy land as it's coming on the map, undervalued, either hold it or sell it. Future cities are going to continue to come on. There's probably, I didn't count them, but there's somewhere around 10 or 15 cities, I think, currently available to purchase. And so also within this upland.me, there is, let me see if I can find it here. If you go under community, you've got this market analytics, and this is where they actually recommend you start if you're going to buy land from somebody else, or if you're going to go FSA also, because you're a new person. You can go into these marketplace analytics and look at not only property that's available for sale, but also what the volume is, some of the statistics on how it's selling. And and you can start breaking it down. Here's that FSA. You can break it down. Here are the cities that are available. So you can count them up there, roughly about 10 cities, give or take, that's available. Highest mint price, lowest mint price. So you can actually start getting in there and kind of doing some research and figuring out what cities you want to try and buy in, what's a fair price. Just, again, really, really easy to navigate this metaverse. I think this is a really good one to cut your teeth in on to get started with. Now, that being said, as I was doing my research, there is some real concerns about the amount of property that's available versus the amount of players. There's a lot of people that don't feel they're bringing on, there's not enough new players coming in for the amount of property that's being released currently. And that's only 10 cities. So, it's supply and demand. If there's not demand and there's oversupply, you're going to see the bottom, start to fall out on it. So be wary of that going into this.
Right. Which is, that's where you're not really sure where the game's going. If the only point is to flip it, then eventually it's going to get to a price where nobody's going to come in and buy anymore. If the amount of players slows down, there's nobody to flip all these lands to. So that's where it's going to really become important, whatever their next step is. If they're doing concerts and if you own land next to it, you get the ticket to go to it. They've got some different types of games that are coming into the system. So it'll eventually need to be more than just buying and flipping. Eventually There'll need to be a purpose to be in there. I know, we compare a lot of stuff to Next Earth, but because it's a platform as a service, you're buying the land, but not to just necessarily turn around and flip it, but because that land is going to earn you NXTT and it's going to have and provide value for you as the game goes on, because they're doing more stuff in the game. The name of the game in Next Earth is not to buy it low and sell it high. It's to buy as much as you can and hold on to it and get ready for all the businesses and the stuff that's coming in. And that Upland, because they're a private company and they're not necessarily open source, they're not giving away all their secrets. They're not doing as many AMAs as a lot of these projects.
Right.
You're not really sure which direction they're headed. So is it smarter to flip it now, get your money and get out? Or do you want to have some in the back, for when the game, if the game does continue to grow, and if in the future they say, hey, if you own this much land in Upland, then you're now able to do this or play this game for free or be invited to this experience, which gives it real world value, not just arbitrage possibility of you trying to buy it low and sell it for a little bit more later. Because eventually, depending on where the players level out at, there's 1 million players and there's 2 million available properties. You're not going to double your money on your investment. In fact, some people are just going to take whatever they can get just to get out of the game, just take what they can and leave. Yeah. So it'll drop the floor price.
There's that whole risk, the reason for the disclaimer, why you got to do your own research. Tools here, good metaverse to cut your teeth on, far as I'm concerned.
One of the best parts is you can throw $100 into this and play the game and enjoy the game. You're not buying into 3 or 4 ETHs worth to get some property. At $100, you're in and you're playing. So I've spent, let's see, I'm trying to think of my most expensive video game, but any of the Halo special editions, I buy the Steelbook box sets. So those are $149. So I've spent more than that on an Xbox video game. And if you just write it off as, okay, here's some money that's going in, I'm going to go play the game, then anything you can ever eventually pull out is good. And if you can pull that out, your money initially invested and still have properties and UpX in the game, then it's all gravy from there. And you can just play on house money.
Yeah, what's better than making money on digital real estate? Making money on digital real estate that you use somebody else's money to buy, like our giveaway, which is it's the middle of the month. we're going to give away 50,000 UPIX. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ben. Sometimes I leave things out. My brain's going 1,000 places at every second. But all our fans have to do is subscribe and then share our channel on any social media of their choosing, and then just send us a screenshot of that share along with the comment, within our channel. And we'll put you in the drawing at the end of the month to win this 50,000 UPIX. Now, you will have to open an account on Upland to receive the UPIX, but that's $50 US, depending on what you want to do with it. Buy some land, cash it in. It's up to you.
Yeah, and Upland has a $0 sign-in. I mean, you can get in, what's it called, a visitor, your bottom level. If you just want to get into the game and look around, I think it's called a visitor. Then they have like explorers, owners, landlords, different levels. But you can get into Upland and get that money and have 50,000 plus the initial 4,500. Do you have a referral code for Upland?
I heard him talking about it, but I haven't looked at, I didn't make it that far. So no, the answer is no.
If we find one, we'll put it in the description below. And I heard there's a bonus for you or for the person whose code it is and for the person signing on. You'll get your 4,500 tokens to play with. If you win the competition, our competition, then you have another 50,000. You could do some serious damage and buy you can buy quite a few properties with the towns that are just opened. You could buy, secondhand property. If you think it's going to go up more, you can get in on the FSA and get the fair start properties, which are reserved for new players. And one of the things that I saw from a lot of people talking to the beginners said, don't go in and buy $150 or $200 worth of tokens right off the bat, because it puts your net worth into that second level. So then you automatically don't qualify for the fair start because your net worth is higher.
Yes.
So take the $50,000 from Ryan, go in, buy your properties, slowly build up, get as many FSA properties as you can. Once you're no longer qualified for them, then you can go on and find other projects and other cities and other houses to develop. So,
yeah, one of my favorite things about these giveaways we're doing, like you and I have talked about, Ben, is, whether it's a month from now, a year from now, 3 years from now, hearing from the people that have won this and what they've turned it into,
Right.
how
Right.
it's grown. That's going to be I'm super excited about that part.
Right. If they say, well, I turned my $50,000 Upland, that was the reason I got into the game, and now I'm a mega landlord cashing out $600 or $700 every month selling properties. Yeah, that'd be great. You know what? I'm going to enter this competition. Can I enter this competition? I'm going to share it on my Twitter.
Yeah. Might as well. Now, you can't win, but you might as well share it on the Twitter.
Yeah. Oh, I will.
That's basically what I've got from the land portion and our giveaway. Anything you want to add to it before we talk about what is coming up on our next episode?
There is some gameplay that they're getting ready to do. So this is one of the jumps that they're talking about. That's not just buying and selling land. Is they've got cars in Upland. I forgot what the name of the company was. That's actually designing. It's an external company that's designing these cars that are able to be built and bought in Upland, and you'll actually be able to race around these cities that you're buying property in. Your little explorer guy, you'll have to buy the car, and then your explorer. You'll be able to match your type of car with your type of explorer, because you have to have the explorer and the car. And then they can actually do races. You'll be able to win UPX tokens. You'll be able to win Spark. All of this is all early. There's a lot of people are still speculating on what it is, but Upland has announced that cars are coming, racing is coming, and some of these guys are talking about the possibilities on these races because it's like Next Earth and because they're integrating real world properties. There's a chance they could be using real world like Google Earth style satellite imagery, and you could actually be racing tracks around a real world San Francisco, which you would be driving by properties that you own in San Francisco. And that's one of the first real gameplays that's not built into the game already. There's a couple of different things you can do in Upland, like treasure hunts. The main purpose of the game is like a modern day Monopoly. You're trying to get as many properties as you can. If you have to sell them, you're trying to sell them for a profit. But they're bringing in a game, and this game is Upland cars or motors or something along those lines, which is, I know we've pointed out in several, for some reason, racing seems to be one of the early, I think it was Somnium Space and Wilder World both have different racing games. So very interesting because that's not out yet, but it does show that the project is still growing, and it's not just going to be buying and selling properties. You know what I mean? The project itself is trying new games. They're partnering with external companies. Right now, you can go to this company, their website, because they make these NFT vehicles for all sorts of different projects. And they're partnering with Upland, and soon enough, they'll be able to get in and you'll be able to race in Upland.
More gameplay. The more gameplay, the better.
Agreed. And that's, what's cool is buying property in a game. That's cool. That's a nice bonus, especially if you can flip it eventually or sell it for more. But what keeps people, you can walk in and buy and sell and be done in 15 minutes, and that'd be the only time you're on the game. What you want is a game that is addictive. You want people in there racing all day and betting and staking UpX tokens on the race and trying to win and trying to, explore and go to different places. Because if you got people in the game all the time racing and spending money, then owning property and owning a piece of the game and owning the currency in the game, that's going to be valuable to everybody. You want the game to be a playable, good game. And you want the metaverse side to be able to benefit from people playing the game. You don't want a game, or you don't want a metaverse property that's like, oh, you should come in and buy this stuff. And then it's like, well, what do you do with it? Well, you sell it. And that's it. You know what I mean? Like there has to be some sort of usable utility, and games have the built-in audience. You know what I mean? There's a billion gamers out there, whether it's mobile, whether it's online, whether it's console or computer. There is the market for gamers. People will get on there. Firefighters are notorious Clash of Clans or Farmville or, all the little mobile games that you can do. What you want is to see them to start combining being able to make that money while playing a game that is enjoyable, while you're able to pass the time, enjoy the time, and then on top of that, put some real world value on it, and it makes the game that much more interesting.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody would disagree with that. Yeah, I like to play video games, but I'd rather not get paid for it. Yeah, I don't think so.
Right. Yeah, like we talked about, I waste a lot of time playing Halo. But if it was like every mission you complete, you get 50,000 UpX tokens, which then you can then go and buy property in there, which then generates a small little income and grows in value, which you might be able to sell later. Well, now it makes sense to play another couple of games before going to bed. I got to get out there and earn that UpX.
Well, yep. No, we're in full agreement. That is why we are doing this channel. Next week, Blocktopia. A lot of hype. This one is kind of gotten overshadowed by some of the projects coming up, but I'm really interested. I'm super interested to dive deeper into this project.
Well, this is the week to do it. Here's a little trailer to give everybody an idea of what we're digging into next week. You ready, Ryan?
Let's do it.
rolling.
Welcome to Blocktopia.
The amount of partnerships they already have, the amount of brands that are already advertising on there. That's what you want to see. You want to see money pouring into it. You want to see them. They've got Jake Paul, which, you know, whether you like him or you hate him, you like having a big name attached to it. And then Animoca Brands, which has been a partner in several of these metaverses.
Yeah.
So you like to see that kind of stuff. The graphics looked great, and they had a lot of stuff going on, not just buying and selling. You know, they had revenue generating NFTs, which I thought was good. I also saw a little clip from, looked like they partnered maybe with WWE, the professional wrestling. So I don't know if that'd be a game or with just collectible NFTs, but
You know, there's big money there.